Alright, so today I'm going to be going through my process and what I use to restore or dye leather. I've got some seats that are probably going to make some people cry if you're a purist. This is going to be a little bit of a painful thing to watch. These seats are Maseratis, out of a Maserati Spider. A very limited production car. In fact, they only made 617 of these in 2002, and the entire run was a total of 3,000 over, I think, 6 or 7 years. So the leather is tired in this car. It grew up in California, and then it moved to Florida, and obviously it's seen its fair share of sun. The driver's side is just as bad as the passenger side. Previous owners definitely went out with a passenger 90% of the time that the car was driven. So one thing you'll notice is it's all blue, and in fact the entire interior of this car was all blue, and it was just way too much blue for me. And then there were some areas that were damaged and that type of thing. So the easiest solution to that for me, I wasn't happy with it all being blue, and I definitely wasn't happy with the wear factor. So I decided I'm going to two-tone it with a gray to kind of go along with the silver of the car. So I'll show you the passenger side, which is already done, the dashboard, and I mean everything in this car was blue, including the back panel here when I picked it up. Door panels were all blue. It was a lot of blue. The only thing that wasn't blue was the steering wheel, although I've refinished that as well. So you can see the seats to me look a whole lot nicer in the two-tone, and it really ties together well with the dashboard, which is now all been dyed. So I'm going to go through the process with you on how to do this. It's not very expensive. It's not terribly time-consuming either. And yes, it makes me cry a little bit that I'm basically spraying fine Italian leather on a limited production car. But like I said, it was beyond something that you could really make look pretty with trying to rework the existing leather. And the right way to do this, obviously, is to have the seats rewrapped and have everything else rewrapped too. But honestly, I don't think you can be able to tell. When you prep this right, even the finish feels the same. It really is a really good product. So the product we're using is Color Bonds LVP. It's a leather, vinyl, and plastic refinisher. It's a dye, doesn't crack, stays very flexible. I've been using this stuff for years and years and years. It runs about, I want to say about 17 bucks a can. It's not cheap. A can, if you're stretching it to see, well, you see what I'm doing on these seats. I'm changing everything except for these center inserts, and that includes the back. If you use it carefully, one can will do that amount on a seat. I've used probably 10 cans or so, converting everything over as much as I've had to do to the silver in this car. So, and that, again, door panels and everything. So each door panel took about a can or so, maybe 3/4 of a can, that type of thing. So the first step is rubbing alcohol. I mean, you can use all kinds of different cleaners. You just need to make sure that you get everything off of that seat, every bit of oils, that type of thing. So we're going to take that with just some paper towels and wipe that down, wipe that seat down really well. Whoops. So the other important thing is to make sure that you're getting into any cracks, any seams into the center of them. So I'll use my fingernails and dig it right in. Don't worry about beating the leather up. Leather's a lot tougher than it looks, and in fact, on one of the next steps here, we're going to be taking some sandpaper to it, and we're going to be taking some aggressive sandpaper, about 220 grit, to scuff the surface up and sand out any imperfections. So this is the first step. So I'm going to cut the video. I'll come back once the seat is wiped down, and I'm going to take off some of the accessory pieces too. Although the heated memory seat piece I'm going to leave on here. The amount of work it is to take this off and the risk of damaging it is not worth it. So I'm going to end up just taping this piece up. But I'll come back once the seat's all wiped down. So the seat's been wiped down very well with alcohol. As you can see, I've gone through it. I've masked off the areas that I do not want to dye. And What we're going to do next is address some of these problem areas with the leather where it's either worn, as in typical fashion on the left side of the driver's bolster, or other problems such as this side that is, there's some focus, sun damage, just for whatever reason. I'm guessing the sun always came at this wherever somebody had it parked for a long time and was hitting it there. So these areas, if you go and just spray over it, they look horrific. Like really, actually, no, I'll show you how horrific it looks. Let's see. So especially in this particular case, because I'm going from a darker color to a lighter color, so all of those areas, they don't absorb the color like the actual leather surface does. So if anything, it makes them stand out even more. Whereas, you know, from this distance before, on the camera, you really couldn't tell that that was all cracked up. Now it's pretty obvious. So what I use for this is made by Permatex. Same company that makes all kinds of sealants and stuff like that you might recognize them from. This is the Ultra Vinyl and Leather Repair Kit. It comes with a little useless tool. I shouldn't say it's useless. It's a little heating tool, and it's fine if you're just doing a couple of little spots, but we're going to be doing some much larger areas. You know, this bolster is going to need a lot of work. This bolster on the outside is going to need a lot of work all the way down. To sit there with that little heating tool and you got to hold it in a spot for 45 seconds before you move to the next spot, I'd be there all day. So we're not going to be using that. You can, and the other option is a heat gun, which mine just died. So the solution of the day has been the old blowtorch. So never fails me. You got to be careful with this. Obviously, you can burn your leather real easily, but we're going to use that to dry and harden the mix. So because we're going to be dyeing it, I'm not going to be too picky on the color. I just want to get it close, because the closer I can get it to the gray that we're going to be going with, the less coats of this I'm going to need in those areas, so it saves you a little bit of that finisher. So we'll go through and mix up a little batch here and start patching. Alright, so you get a little bit mixed up here. The key to this stuff is a dab will do you. Less is more when it comes to applying this stuff. It really doesn't take much. That little dab is going to go a very, very long way. Surprisingly long. As you just kind of feather your way and spread it in. Some cracks this deep are going to take more than just one coat to get it right. As it dries, it will shrink a little bit, and then I'm gonna have to come back and hit it again. But just work a very small amount of the material at a time. Whoops! I need 3 hands and 2 sets of eyes to see if I'm not focused on what I'm working on here. What was I gonna say? Stay away from your stitching. If you, like in this particular case, I've got stitching right next to me. If you get this stuff in those stitches, it just smooths them over completely, and your finished product will look horrible, because your stitching will start, then randomly just stop in one place. So other than that, you see the technique here is just kind of spread it in and then kind of squeegee it off, basically. So I'm going to go through and do the rest of this section here, and I'm going to put the camera down so I can get my other hand back. Alright, so I've got this one piece done. Once it focuses, so you can see it's filled in all the cracks, and it's already started to shrink a little bit, and I haven't even heated it yet. So once I heat it, it'll turn from shiny to kind of a matte finish, and that's when you know it's dry. The tool can be used for that again, but you're here forever with the tool. With a heat gun or something similar, it dries a whole lot faster for larger areas. I'm not using the texture pads that comes with the Permatex kit. These are great if you've literally got like a 1-inch hole here and you need to start from scratch. You'll want one of these. Because I'm just kind of filling in the potholes of the leather, there's enough of the grain that's in there that's going to shine through that I don't need to use that. I just need to apply heat to dry it. And we'll go through and I've got a whole bunch of work to do all the way around these seats of filling that in. So when I come back to you, we'll have done all this portion and we'll be ready to get to the sanding part, and then we'll get right into using the dye. This isn't the prettiest stage, but gone around and filled in all of the cracks in the leather with the Permatex. Now, let's see if we get to focus here.